What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Off the Bench. I know it's been a little while. I've missed you guys. I hope everybody's doing fantastic today. But me and John have been working out a new schedule. So like I say, now we're going to get more consistent on our weekly, videos that we put out to you guys. So, stay tuned for more episodes coming up. But as always, thank y'all for staying tuned. Thank y'all for continuing to support. Thank you for the comments, the views, the shares, the likes, all that. And of course, as always, before we get started in today's episode, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the share button, make sure you hit the comment button, and follow us on all of our other social medias, which is always listed down below. So let's get right into today's episode, man, because we got a lot to cover. And your boy has been so excited to do this episode because, man, guess what? Football is back. College football, the NFL, the best time of the year is back into play. So we're going to get right into, college football because we just experienced, the first week 1 of college football. Now, I know a lot of fans out there have had, some good, in this first week, but a lot of fans have felt some heartbreak in this first week of college football. So the first thing I want to talk about, of course, is my Miami Hurricanes. Man, we went into the swamp, took care of business, and I know a lot of people were surprised by that. I myself was even surprised because I was, a little uneasy on, how we were going to look. I know Cam Ward, who has been a blessing to our team, because I've always felt, in all the years of being a Hurricane, and watching our team, we're at our best when we have us a solid QB, not one of the Heisman candidates, not somebody that is, the best in the country, but somebody that's solid, somebody that can get out of the pocket, can also control the tempo of the game, and then play with a little risk, because Cam Ward does play with a little risk. I know sometimes I was kind of on the couch clenching like, on some of his passes, but, Cam Ward and what he did, getting out of the pocket, getting the ball down the field, being able to read the defense and just basically shred the swamp apart. Like I said, we went in there, dug it out a little bit, cleaned it up, and gave Florida one of their worst losses in opening home game history. So I feel good to be part of that. Now, I'm not going to get crazy and think that we going to the championship or anything like that, because we still got a long season ahead of us. But it's a good start to see where we are. But we have, we got more games coming up to continue to prove ourselves, not only to the country, but into, to the playoff committee, because this year being 12 teams, it gives us a real opportunity to not only, make it to the playoffs, but have an opportunity to win the ACC, because the next team that I'm going to talk about that hasn't had a good start is Florida State. So I know there's a lot of Florida State fans out there. Y'all come to me all the time talking about Florida State this, Florida State that. And I'm not going to lie, these first 2 games, not a good look for y'all. I've noticed, with the, your QB coming in, that we thought, a lot of people thought that was going to be a good upgrade or a good solid transition from your, from Travis that went to the NFL. But unfortunately right now, the offense looks very, very confused on what they're trying to do. They can't control the line of scrimmage, so they can't run the ball, and then getting the ball down the field. Wide receivers really can't get open, and then DJ's back there really, I don't know what he's doing. I don't know if he's trying to be a pocket quarterback, be a mobile quarterback. I don't know. I know when Oregon State, he had a better offense that catered to his skill set, and I feel like with Florida State, he's not been able to really get into a groove with the offense. But it's 2 games. And the beauty of this year, because of the 12-team playoff, they still have a opportunity to recover from these 2 losses because of Georgia Tech. One, like I said, Georgia Tech is always a difficult play because of their the type of offense that they run with their RPOs, Wildcat, all different kind of stuff that they do with their offense. It's very difficult to guard. But then coming into the Boston College game, I figured, Florida State would be able to defensively be able to control Boston College and then let their offense, gradually pick up as the game went on. But one thing I noticed was Boston College run game and their run attack and their offensive line was manhandling Florida State, which was a very big shock to me, and I'm sure a lot of the Florida State fans out there was a huge shock to you too as well. So Florida State, they're in a bad spot, but they got, if they lose this next game, then, season's probably going to be over for them real quick. So we got to wait to see what Florida State going to do. But, overall, I think the week, as a fan of the sport and a fan of, college football and what it does, every year it comes around. I was very happy to see, how all the games played out. Like I said, we didn't really see too many surprises. Like I say, of course, Miami for me and going into the swamp and doing what we did. And of course, Florida State, first 2 losses. I didn't really see too many big surprises. Of course, Michigan, they kind of struggled in the first half of their game against Fresno State. But then, of course, they took control and won that game. Of course, Texas dominated. Alabama dominated. What else you got out there? Oregon, they had a tight game, but they ended up winning their game. Of course, Colorado had a tight game, came down to, Travis Hunter having to make an amazing catch, which what worries me about Colorado is they play too many close games. Now, offensively, of course, we already know they got, Shedeur and they have Travis, 2 juggernauts, and they have Horn Jr., who's a lightning bolt, on the field for them. But defensively, man, I just think defensively they still have a lot to do on that defensive side to stop teams because, yes, in college football, I know, scoring is at an all-times high, but you still got to be able to stop people in key moments of the game. And I think that's what Colorado is lacking right now. They're lacking the ability to stop people. And then, like I said, they're relying too much on Travis and Shedeur to make big plays at the end of the game. And, of course, as we saw last year against good teams, that opportunity is always not going to be there. So they got to do a better job defensively. But I know Prime, he's, of course, who he is, and I know his defensive mind that he has. He's gonna figure it out and help these boys, especially in the new conference that they're in. It's going to help these boys, going into the latter parts of the year in the season to, of course, make a playoff run and hopefully win, have an opportunity to win their conference. But, I think a lot of people have to just calm down. It's the first week. I know we're all excited. I know everybody wants to make the playoff. I know how important the win and losses are early in the season, but we got to relax. Every team that's played this first week, they're going to have to make some adjustments, and they're going to come back and have a better performance and hopefully a different outcome in the second week. But right now, what we're seeing for the official kickoff weekend, being in Ireland, which was huge for NCAA, letting you know that they're enhancing their global fandom and connection with fans in other parts of the world, similar to how the NFL does with their global games. So it was cool to see us in Ireland for our, a college event, college football game was pretty cool. So I was excited to see that. But I will tell you that I am excited for the matchups coming up next week because you got Texas going up against Michigan. That should be a good test. But I think, where everybody is right now, I know that, everybody's a little worried, a little bit worried about what can go on rest of the season, but I think a lot of teams are going to be okay. I know, Clemson played a hell of a game against Georgia, but of course Georgia I think overall they got the number one seed in the country, but overall I think Georgia is just a better team than Clemson. So I think a lot of people have been overreacting to the Dabo Swinney loss. Now, don't get me wrong. I know Dabo, he's going to have to make some changes in what he does offensively and defensively with his coordinators and, of course, with his players. But like I say, for your first game to be a loss against Georgia, I don't think people should be really coming down on Dabo the way they are because at the end of the day, he's a national championship coach. He's won 2 tutties with him and 2 titles with him. So the program itself, now I get it, because of that the spotlight is different on Clemson now. So people look at Clemson to be more of a juggernaut in the ACC. But also I know, with that loss, with Florida State's struggle early season, it makes it hard for them to get themselves out of their contract with ACC. Because, like in my other videos, I talked about how Clemson and Florida State have, sent in lawsuits and trying to, get out of the ACC to have an opportunity to go to different conference. Well, I will say, as of right now, in these 3 games, 2 for Florida State, 1 for Clemson, don't look good for y'all to be able to, get someone to want to bring you into their conference, given the performance they've seen so far. So now, like I say, early in the season, we'll have to see what comes for the rest of the season. But right now, it's not a good look for 2 teams that's, trying to get themselves out of their conference and get to a different conference to have an opportunity to be in a, more competitive conference per se. But, right now, teams are looking good in the ACC, these first games. But we're going to see what happens with Clemson. But I think people got to calm down because Dabo Swinney he's a good coach. Let's just keep it real. He's a good coach. He struggled against Georgia. Now there is some adjustments he's going to have to make with his coaching, with his recruiting, because the landscape of college football has changed. And I know a lot of Nick Saban, issues. It's kind of what Dabo has issues with or have had issues with. But the college, the game now is different. So I think there is going to have to be some more creative offensive, play styles he's going to have to use. And also he's going to have to be willing to go out there and look into the transfer portal and look at how he recruits certain players to his program, because now the game is different. Just like the NFL is ever evolving, college football is evolving right behind it. So, dog, got to fly in here, y'all. But so he gotta change it up just a little bit. He can't be stuck in the old ways of doing things, especially the ways that it was good for you because you had the athletes with Trevor Lawrence and NTN Jr. and all those guys that came in and helped, bring those championships to your program. You don't have those guys walking through your door anymore, so you kind of got to be a little more creative on how you attract certain players to come to your program to keep you in that, championship talk and playoff talk, and also keep you, coaching wise, in a good spot too. So, you also saw Notre Dame going to Texas A&M, which, like I say, I thought that would be a tough game for them, but they went in there and they took care of business. And to do it against an SEC team, I thought that was pretty good, for their resume to be able to get that type of win early in the season was, good to see them do that as well. Now, LSU, I know that was kind of a heartbreaker. And, of course, Brian Kelly, he kind of released some frustration, after the game. And people have had some mixed reviews about, what he said and how he felt about what the players did. But, people have to understand in college right now how important these wins and losses are for a lot of coaches to not be able to, have a game that he felt, and I'm sure a lot of people watching, I myself watched that game, felt like they had that game under control, and to lose it in the key moments of the game, it doesn't look good on him as a coach, but also it doesn't look good for, how will they handle these moments, moving forward in, the rest of the season. So his frustration, I think anybody in that game would have had the same frustration. And I don't have a problem with a coach, venting and saying to himself, like, look, man, we gotta find a way to win that game. And I got to do a better job in those moments to put my players in a good position. So it wasn't like he was just totally blaming the players for the loss, but he also blamed himself and also, for not putting them and having them prepared and ready for those type of moments, early in the season, because you don't think sometimes that's going to come so fast that those moments going to happen. But I think moving forward, he'll be a better coach, and I think LSU will be a better team from that loss. But yeah, that was a pretty hard loss for them in the beginning. But also, I was happy and proud to see USC come in and play a SEC team and do what they did. And to see, Lincoln Riley have that type of performance out of his team and be able to go in and win that game, that was big for USC. Because them coming out of Pac-12 and going to a different conference. So I think, the scheduling was for this year has been, masterful so far, because all of the matchups that we've seen, so far, especially with the blending of, new teams in the Big Ten, new teams in the Big 12, new teams in the SEC, new teams in the ACC, seeing these matchups now early in the season, I think is going to just make the landscape of college football that much better than it has been the last few years. Because, like I say, the way the game is being played now with NIL deals, transfer portal, and all these players moving and going to places that they feel is the best fit for them. And also, too, all of these guys that are, playing today damn near 30 in college, like to see, Utah quarterback, it's like his 7th year in college. I just never thought that you would be able to play college football that long, but with the COVID years and red shirt years and just how they're allowing guys to stay in college football as long as they want or as long as they can, and then also with injuries and all those things, it's amazing to see, because back in the day, you only saw that, very sparingly, especially like Chris Winkie with Florida State. Like he was like the oldest guy in the entire, NCAA. But now you're just seeing, pretty much every team now has somebody that's, 20 plus playing in college football. So it's a little crazy, but I know for the game is giving, that experience and it's giving the fans, someone to follow for a long period of time, especially on their favorite team. But no, overall, man, I think it was the best opening week that we can have so far, and it just makes me excited to see. I mean, like I say, seeing what Alabama's doing with their new head coach. Like, they had a good performance. Michigan, new coach. So seeing these coaches take over, and also seeing these guys that came back for college for this year to give it one more run at a opportunity to play in a championship is good for college football. Now, as for who I was most impressed with this week, watching all the games, of course, I got to be a little biased this week. I got to say Miami. I was most impressed by how we went and played defensively and offensively. Just an all-around performance. I think we just had the best showing because of how we dominated, a good team, no matter what nobody say. I know there's a lot of Florida fans. I was talking to them all weekend, talking about how they're in a bad spot. But at the end of the day, to go into the Swamp in a primetime game for anybody, whether it's Miami or any team, to go in there and dominate and give somebody their worst home opener loss in over almost 100 years, you got to be impressed by that. And to do it the way we did it, controlling the line of scrimmage, running the ball at will, throwing the ball over the field, and defensively, pretty much controlling the entire game all game long. I think that's an impressive performance for your first. But like I say, I know my team. We'll have weeks like this, but then we'll go into next week like we play FAMU, and we won't do the same thing. So I'm not gonna go crazy with the win, but I will say as long as we can continue to build off of that performance, we should be good, leading into the rest of the season. But now y'all comment down below. You let me know what you thought about this first week of college football, or do you watch college football at all? I think for me, like I said, very happy with what I saw this first week. But y'all let me know what you thought about the first week matchups and what you think about, upcoming weeks. And also, what also makes me feel so great about college football, of course, I've been playing NCAA 25. So, having the game and then having the ability to watch the game. So it just brings back that childhood memory of being able to play NCAA on the console, and then also, of course, watching college football. So very excited what college football is right now, and I look forward to seeing what the rest of the season has as we get going to the latter parts of the season. Shout out to Alabama too as well, because I watched a little, on Twitter/X, watched a video of them celebrating a young girl. I believe her first name was Savannah. For this young lady, unfortunately, she's battling a disease that is, attacking her heart. So for Alabama to be able to celebrate her, man, it's a cool. It's kind of a tearjerker, man, because you get a chance to watch her with the team, and one of her favorite positions on the not NFL, but on the team is the running back. So she got a chance to be the running back with one of her favorite players, who was Jalen Melrose. So she got a chance to get the ball from him, run it into the end zone, score, and then celebrate with her team. So, man, it was a beautiful moment, and this is what, for me, why sports are so great. Hence the title of the episode, Sports Are the Greatest, because you get these moments. You get opportunity for people, from all walks of life, no matter where you are. You also get the chance to celebrate people that are going through something that you don't, might not be going through, but a lot of people can relate to somewhat of that situation that young girl's going through in their family. So you get a chance to see the humanity and how, sports brings that all together. So it was a beautiful, beautiful moment. If you haven't had a chance to see it, go to their Twitter/X page, and you'll see it. And then, of course, we'll drop it in here on our video so people can see. Man, it was a beautiful moment, and to be able to, watch that. Like I said, not gonna lie, got a little emotional for myself. So shout out to Alabama for doing that for Miss Savannah. But like I said, I just think college football, I'm so happy it's back around, and I can't wait to see these more moments, because, we've already seen spectacular catches. You had USC, can't remember the guy's name, but he had him some beautiful one-handed catches to help them come back and beat LSU. So, like I say, this year, and with this playoff system, 12 teams, man, we're in store for some big moments, and, like I say, some great football. So now let's transition into the NFL. Of course, the NFL is going on here very, very soon, I mean, you got a huge opening weekend. You know, you got a Thursday night, you got a Friday night, and you got games over the weekend. I can't recall ever watching the NFL and having this many games in an opening week. And then, of course, being all the way in Brazil too as well on a Friday night for the Green Bay Packers and the Philadelphia Eagles, two big names to go all the way down to South America to go down there and engage with the fans from South America. That's pretty wild, man. I mean, the global games is getting crazy. Like we're really going all over the world playing football, or our style of football here in America. So it's pretty big. And I want to ask everybody watching a question. With our international growth in the NFL, do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing for the sport? I particularly think it's great for the sport, just because, just like anything, just like the game of basketball, just like the game of, football, or what we call soccer, baseball. I mean, when you have an opportunity for a sport to become global, and you have people from all walks being able to experience that sport, this is where you see the enhancement and, creativity, the enhancement in skills, and the athletes. You see the athletes become something that you've never seen before, because in certain parts of the world, Africa, South America, Asia, Europe, everybody don't have the same opportunities at certain things, so they get more creative on how they can build their body, become faster, stronger, quicker, and become more skillful. And then it just brings the level of the competition up, and it brings the level of the game, and the growth and notoriety of the game just becomes better. So I think the NFL, or just in general football, like I said, on the college level, on the pros level, being able to expand into the other parts of the world is only going to make the sport better. And it's only going to give us opportunity to see, better players, come to America to play in the NFL or play in college, as well as you're going to start seeing, other leagues be created, because you got to give everybody an opportunity to play, because not everybody can come over here, but you got to, just like the Canadian Football League. So if you have another football league that starts in another part of the world, now you have, or programs that start, just like basketball has, youth and teen, and then of course guys can go and play professional and then have a chance to get drafted into the NBA or get drafted into the NFL. So you'll start to see those things come more around when you have the global attention on that particular sport. So I think the NFL, going where they're going, in Europe, and then now South America, Mexico, and they've been to Germany. So I think, as the NFL continue on and they continue to stretch into different markets as well, because we have to admit it's about business, right? Because the NFL is big business. So in their opportunity to travel to these other parts of the world, it also gives them, marketing strength for people to want to join in and give these teams the opportunity to be seen by other people in other parts of the world that like them, just like we do here in America. So I think, developing more strength and growth in the global market, it just helps the sport. So, and of course, we all know, that's how these TV deals, with Peacock, with Netflix, with Amazon, that's how these things become, valuable for the NFL and for those companies that offer those contracts. Because when that happens, now guess what? It expands their business more globally, because now people have a reason to watch and want to subscribe to their programming, because the NFL is partner up with them. So it just all the way around, it helps. And then of course, when you talk about contracts, just like in the NBA, every year when these TV deals and TV contracts and endorsements and sponsorships, the money grows there. It just grows for the player. So just like in the NFL, especially being a gladiator sport like it is, players deserve to get paid, because they're going out there laying their life and their careers on the line every single week that they play. So being able to have an opportunity to grow the expansion on what players can make is always a beautiful thing. I mean, you just look at prime examples of what you've seen this offseason with Brandon Ayuk for 49ers, Trent Williams with the 49ers. Then you got, Pat Surtain, what he did with his contract that he just recently signed, because he just signed, let me pull it up so we can see. Of course, he just signed a four-year deal for $96 million. And then, of course, his extension includes a 77 or almost a $78 million guarantee, making him the highest paid cornerback ever. These type of contracts happen because of the expansion of what the NFL is doing in the global market. So that makes him the highest per year, the highest paid quarterback, because you got him, you got Jaire Alexander, $21 million a year. Of course, Pat is going to get $24 million a year. You got AJ Terrell, $20 million a year. Denzel Ward, he's got 20.1, and then Jalen Ramsey got 20 mil flat. So you're looking at these guys playing in the cornerback position. And then, of course, Pat, now he's reset the market, for the next wave of guys that's coming in, or the next guy up that for a big contract that's just as good as him or might be a little bit better. It just resets the market and gives them opportunity to get paid. Because I'm all for the players, getting paid, especially when you're top in your field. Not the fourth, fifth, sixth tier, player, but the number one, number two tier players on these teams that make these teams go. I'm 100% for these guys getting their money, because like I said before, it's a gladiator sport, and they're laying their life and their careers and their, bodies on the line, their families, everything's on the line for them. So, and the owners are, making trillions of dollars, billions of dollars every year off of this, this brand and ownership and what they do off the field to make their money. I'm never going to oppose for players to hold out and get their money that they deserve. Because like I say, you look at Brandon, you look at Trent Williams in the 49ers, getting an opportunity to get their money. Now, Brandon Ayuk, he even has come out and said himself that he made the negotiating a little bit harder than it had to be at the end. But he wanted to show that, hey, man, I'm worth what you're giving me. Same thing with Trent Williams. I think Trent Williams, if they wouldn't have signed him, that would have been a worse loss than Brandon, just because he's one of the best tackles in football, Hall of Fame tackle, and you need him in order for y'all to get to where you're trying to get back to the Super Bowl. But I will say this about the 49ers. Now, with all the contract noise over with, of course, they got to worry about Brock next year. It's time to win. It's time to win. You've had the number one defense for last few years, or top three defense for last few years. I mean, you got all the weapons you need offensively, with one of the best running backs at CMC in the league. You got, Debo, you got Kittle. I mean, then on the defensive side, the names, you can't name all the guys that they have. They got enough. I mean, like I said, you've been to 2 Super Bowls, you've been to the conference, championship in the NFC. But it's time now. It's time to win. And I know with John Lynch, the GM, I know he's probably saying the same thing to everybody in the organization, that it is that time, because this window now is going to get smaller and smaller because these guys are getting older. I know Trent Williams, he's only going to play for so much longer. And these other guys that have these extensions, their contract is when it runs out. I mean, they're going to be in a latter year of their career. So right now, everybody's still young. Everybody's still in the best shape of their life. It's time to win. So we'll have to wait and see. But, I'm always for every player to get their money. Every player, St. Brown got his money from Detroit this offseason. Like I say, you got CeeDee Lamb finally got his money from Dallas Cowboys. So and I know Jamar Chase, he's the only one waiting in the wind right now to see if he's going to get his extension that he's wanting. Now, he still has some years left on his contract, so I don't know if he's going to play the first game, but, I mean, they still have him under contract for 2 years, so he probably will play, because if not, he'll probably sustain some huge fines for not, participating. But we'll have to wait and see. But like I say, I think every player, man, that's top in their field deserves an opportunity to get paid what they're worth. And I think, 49ers have stepped up, put their money where their mouth is, so now it's time for the players to go out and perform. So we have to see how this season goes. But I think overall with the NFL, it's like I said, big business. So it's great to see the growth of the brand, and then of course to see how the players are reaping the benefits from that growth. But then last thing I'll say about the 49ers, I don't know if y'all heard about the story where the rookie on their team named Ricky Paracel got shot in the chest in an attempted robbery on him, And then 48 hours later, the man was back in the facility, trying to play or trying to get ready to play. So I thought that was an incredible story too as well. And that just lets you know that everybody's kind of buying in on what the 49ers are doing, man, because they believe that they're one of the best teams in the league, which they have shown the last few years. So I'm gonna ask y'all a question. Given the landscape of the teams in the AFC and the landscape of the team in the NFC, who do y'all think will make it to the NFC Championship, and who do y'all think will make it to the AFC Championship? My picks for the NFC, I'm going to go, the 49ers, of course, just because on paper, and in what they've proven in the last couple of seasons, no reason to bet against them. So I'm going to go 49ers. And then I still think, if the Green Bay Packers, man, if they can pull it together and Jordan Love can just elevate a little bit more from what he did last year, I can see Green Bay back in the championship playing against them again. Like I said, I'm not sold on Dallas because Dallas every year, like I say, everybody think they're going to make the Super Bowl, but they never perform in the clutch moments of the season. And then the Philadelphia Eagles, I don't know about them unless they come out here and they really show that they can dominate because they have the team. They have the ability. With Saquon Barkley coming there, they've read up on their running back attack. And then, of course, wide receivers. They got, two of the best in the league or top 10 in the league. You got Jalen Hurts coming off of a down year. I think this is going to be an important year for him to see if he's able to bounce back and take this team back to the playoff, to the championship, and then possibly to the Super Bowl and have a chance to win the Super Bowl, especially with Kelce gone now, because now, all those reads that Kelce was providing to Jalen, he's got to do it. So now we get to see if Jalen can elevate to another level as a quarterback too for them, to see if he can take them to the next level. And I think this year is important too for the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles too. We got to see how he's going to bounce back from that downslide that they had at the end of the season last year. So, like I say, the NFC, I got 49ers and I got the Green Bay Packers going to the championship. In the AFC, it's kind of a no-brainer because they've been dominating for the last 7 seasons since Pat Mahomes got there. So I got to pick the Chiefs to go there. Now, who they go up against? I think Baltimore has a good chance of getting back there again. Of course, I think the Chiefs will beat them again because them adding Derrick Henry, that gives them not a huge jump in the running back department, but it does help. So I think as long as he can stay healthy, he's going to be a huge asset for them coming into this year. And of course, Baltimore has a pretty stout defense. So I think, they have a good chance to come back. So I got the Chiefs in the AFC versus Ravens. And then, of course, I got the Green Bay Packers versus the 49ers. So we have to wait and see. But like I say, you comment down below. Let me know what you think, who you think is going to make it there, who you think the surprise team might be. Because I know you got the Detroit Lions. They got a good chance to repeat this year, their performance. You got the Houston Texans. They've made adjustments. Adding Stephon Diggs and then adding who they add? The running back, what's his name? Hold on, let me pull it up real quick because I don't want to mess it up. I hate messing up people's names. Let's see, Houston Texans, running depth chart. Let's see. Trying to see who they got. Joe Mixon. I don't know how I messed that name up, but yeah, Joe Mixon coming in from the Bengals. That's a huge upgrade for them in the running back department. You still got Tank Dell, who at the end of the season started to really come on and be a deep threat down the field for them. And you still got Nico Collins. So, you still got the Texans that should be able to have a good season this year too as well. So there's a lot of teams out there, that I think going to have a good season when it comes to, bringing in new pieces, but also keeping old pieces from last season. You got to see what the Dolphins are going to do. Tua has got a new contract. Tyreek Hill got a new contract. Waddle's healthy. Then, of course, they got a good defense. So it's a lot of teams that's going to be, up there fighting for the top spot. But like we all know, it's all going to come down to who's going to perform at the right time and the right moments of the season. And then I want to ask another question. There's two quarterbacks, of course, they're new faces in new places. And Russell Wilson is one with the Pittsburgh Steelers. and then you got Kirk Cousins with the Atlanta Falcons. Out of those two guys, who do you think will have the best debut with their new team, and who will have the better season overall, or who will struggle the most overall? So y'all comment down below, let me know out of those two quarterbacks who you think. I think Kirk Cousins myself, because I watched him for so many years in Minnesota. I think he's going to have the better performance opening week as well as the whole season, just because of his style of play, his ability to read defenses. Now, not saying that if they he's going to take them to the playoffs and have a winning performance in the playoffs, because we also know that Kirk hasn't really gotten that job done when he's with Minnesota, himself. So I do think Kyle Pitts is going to have a better year because of him. Drake London is going to have a better year because of him, and then of course Robertson, I think he'll have a better year because of Kirk Cousins. So they're going to elevate their play because of Kirk. Versus in Pittsburgh, I don't really see anybody elevating their play with Russell Wilson under the huddle. So don't think that Russell's a bad player. He still, I think, is a solid quarterback in this league, but I just believe that his performances, and then of course his leadership and the way he is able to elevate other players around him, I just don't think he's going to be able to do that with his team, unlike Kirk Cousins is going to do with Atlanta Falcons. Now, I will say this. I don't think Russell, unless he just comes out and he just balls out, I don't think he's going to have too many games where he can, have poor performances before they're going to have to move on to Justin Fields. Now, I believe Justin Fields should be the starter with Pittsburgh more so than Russell, but I also understand why Russell is the starter because of his experience and pedigree and what he has done. And he did have a somewhat better year with Denver last year, even though they just didn't believe in him and they didn't really want him in their system anymore and to be their starting quarterback. So I understand why they picked him over Justin, but I also believe Justin hasn't gotten a fair look. Like I say, because if you look at the team now that Cam Williams is taking over, and then you look at what Justin had his years that he was there, it's a different team. I believe truly if Justin Fields had the players, with Swift and Keenan Allen and then DJ Moore and the guys that they brought in for that team, I think if Justin Fields had that same pieces, I think he would have been a lot better off than he was without them. So, like I said, we'll have to wait and see. But I think Justin Fields should be the starter and probably will end up being the starter by the end of the season because Russell is not going to have a lot of room, especially in Pittsburgh media. And then, of course, the type of heat that Tomlin's going to feel from him not performing well, he's not going to have a lot of games. So he might have 2 or 3 games before everybody's calling for Justin Fields. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes. But no, man, I think with the NFL right now and a lot of these teams, it's an exciting time because you got a lot of good teams. This year you don't really have, normally you just know, okay, it's these 5, 10 teams going to be bad. This year you really can't point out too many bad teams. I mean, you got the Carolina Panthers probably going to be a bad team. New England Patriots probably going to be a bad team. Denver Broncos is a good chance they're probably going to be bad. But outside of them teams, there's a lot, and possibly Arizona Cardinals. But outside of them 4 teams, there's really not a team you can really say, man, should be a real bad team. Even the LA Raiders, Las Vegas Raiders, sorry. I think the Las Vegas Raiders, I think they should have a better year this year too as well. Now, with Minshew as their quarterback, we'll have to see how that goes, but I think they should have a better year. Of course, the Rams will have a better year because they'll be healthy going into the season, unlike last year. Chargers should have a good year. So I think a lot of teams in the NFL going to be pretty solid. So which is going to make it great for me as a fan and everybody out there watching the games is going to definitely enjoy what they see. So, but I want to switch gears a little bit, and I want to ask y'all a question again. Now with Pat Mahomes, he's trying to win 3 chips in a row. They've won 2 back-to-back, which has been phenomenal. But if he wins his 3rd championship in a row, does that make him the GOAT now? I myself love Pat Mahomes. I think he is the best quarterback in the league, especially what he's been able to do for these last 7 years, as the quarterback. But it's hard to put him at the GOAT status just yet because, you know, I'm a huge TB fan. I think Tom Brady, he is the depiction of what a quarterback should be, as for the leader, as for someone that wins in the clutch, as for someone that you can trust to always keep your team in a place that they're able to compete every single season. Pat Mahomes has done that so far, but we got to look at totality of career. Now, of course, I know these last 4 or 5 years, you know, Pat has been dominating. But you got to look at the span of a career of what Tom Brady did over 20 years versus, you know, Pat's, you know, short time in the NFL. I know it feels like he's been in there for a long time because he's been winning so much, but let's wait and let's see what happens in another 10 years. In another 10 years, if he's up there and he's about to pass, you know, Tom Brady in championships and, of course, all the accolades, passing yards, TDs versus interceptions, and just playoff after playoff after playoff. Now, if he gets into a position where that is what's going on, then we can have a different conversation on, is he the best quarterback to ever play in the NFL? But right now, I think it's too early to give him that title because of what Tom Brady has done for the NFL. And also, you know, Peyton Manning, what he did in the league too as well. You can't just throw those things out the window. And, you know, just because right now Pat is he is it. And like I said, you got all these upcoming quarterbacks. You got the Lamar Jacksons. I think he'll eventually, you know, get it together and start really winning in the playoffs. You still got Joe Burrow, who's in the AFC, who, you know, coming back this year is healthy. So you still got him who can try to challenge Pat in his run for, you know, his championships. So we have to wait and see. And then, of course, all the, you know, upcoming young quarterbacks in the league, you're going to have to see how they go up against Pat. Because right now, nobody's challenging him right now. I think he's the best quarterback, hands down, in the NFL. I don't care what nobody say. I don't care who you put up against him. He's gonna outdo him, and he's gonna win the game. And plus, he's gonna always, in the moments that it matters, he's gonna make the right decision. So I think right now it's too early to call him to go, but it's gonna make it an interesting thing if he does win, you know, 3 in a row. So, you know, and I know he's already come out and said that's the plan, to win another one. And everybody on the team, of course, you know, Travis Kelce, that's the thing, to win another one. So we'll have to wait and see. So as for MVP candidates this year, I don't know. Like I said, we haven't played a game yet, so can't really say. I mean, yeah, we can base it off of last year, base off paper on who we think should be an MVP candidate. But I think we want to wait and see what happens in the beginning of this year, or even wait and see what, you know, these first few games look like. Then we can have a better picture of, you know, MVP wise, who we think will be a good candidate for that. So we'll just have to wait and see. But no, I think, yeah, I'm excited, for the NFL to be back, and of course, college football being back around, man, just makes it a great time. So, but yeah, y'all comment down below. You know, let me know what you thought about first week of college. What do you think about NFL going into their first week? And then, of course, let me know who you think in college football is surprising you, or hasn't surprised you, or will surprise you, or will be a surprise. And then, of course, let me know what you think about what we can look forward to in the NFL. And then, of course, what you think about the international growth of the NFL and their brand. But as always, man, I want to thank y'all for tuning in for this episode. I look forward to seeing y'all on the next episode. Make sure before you leave, make sure you hit that like button, hit that share button, comment down below, as well as follow us on all of our other social medias, which is always listed down below. And y'all have a great day, and we'll see y'all soon. See you on next episode. Until then, peace.